Hi, and welcome to White Hat versus Black Hat SEO show. My name is Josh Bachynski. Josh, Conan O'Brien haircut Bachynski. And today I have on the call a whole bunch of people. I've got two of mega Black Hats with me today. Our Black Hat co-host, Clint Butler. Say hi there, Clint. He's waving hi. Looks like he's outside. He's maxing and relaxing. Looks like that looks pretty good.
I am.
Are you outside your house? Are you vacationing or what's going on?
No, outside the house. This is my view. It's not horrible.
Cool. Looks nice. Looks nice. It looks like a nice blue sky. No rain in sight.
Yeah, that's the best part.
So that's nice and rare for us people in the Pacific Northwest. No rain. And we have with us Holly, mega Black Hat extraordinaire. Holly, if you're there, say hi.
Hey, man. What's up?
Not much. I am just getting over a cold. That's why my voice is a little nasally sounding maybe.
I hear you.
And yeah, we had this stupid cold going around. And also we have a guest with us, Mark, who's going to ask us a question a little bit later. He wanted to ask about keyword density, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. But as we always start off the show with what's new in SEO. And so I've been playing with Google a little bit. I've been bugging them. Kind of a philosophical question that I'll share with you guys that I asked them. Let me share my Twitter screen here. So as you can see here, I was getting a little lippy with Google. I do this, they answer me for some reason. I'm not really sure why. And so I said, hey, John Mueller, if Google truly wanted to give the right answer, let me make it as bigger so you can see it. If Google truly wanted to give the right answer to questions and provide truth checking in their algorithms, which they're trying to do, by the way, they're trying to write algorithms that'll do truth checking so they can weed out what's called fake news. They would need drop downs so people can select their version of truth. For example, is your paradigm of truth, is your personal truth scientific truth? Is your personal truth Western moral norms? Is your personal truth a religious truth, such as the Muslim truth or the Catholic truth or any of these different kinds of truth, a feminist truth, all these different kinds of truths that people talk about. And I'm not saying I subscribe to any of these truths or none of them, or that there is such a thing as subjective truths. All I'm saying is that Google needs to kind of make it clear what their biases are in that matter. And I said, I'm half joking, but I'm being half serious. It's a serious question what epistemic framework you, as a public utility, choose as your model, is it not? To avoid your implicit bias? I say right now you're inferring this, the searcher's truth preference, from their past searches. That would say that would be their biases fed back to them surreptitiously. That's what Facebook just got in trouble for with this election hoopla. And Google got in trouble a bit as well, but of course they dodged that bullet very quickly. So I'm saying right now you're inferring what their truth preference is from their past searches, which would be their private settings fed back to them surreptitiously, as modified by your biases. That is to say, Google's biases, again, fed to the searchers surreptitiously. That truth paradigm you choose is a serious question. It should not be implicit. And so Paul Haar, one of the head Google engineers, he responded. He said, lots in this, but of course, we don't claim truth. I find that very interesting that Google is giving you the right answer, but the right answer is not the truthful one. That's kind of weird that he said that.
Truth is subjective.
Yeah, well, that's the problem, isn't it? He says, we too aspire to provide good information, and we explain a lot about what we mean by that in our Rater guidelines, notably section 3 on what the page quality means, with details in the following sections. And he gives me a link. I thought that was kind of cool. He actually responded. He says, we definitely do have a bias towards, for example, what you call scientific truth. I thought, wow, you admitted that too. That's another pretty impressive thing that you admitted, that Google has a bias towards scientific truth. At least he admitted it. I thought that was pretty impressive. And then he links to the Rater's guideline. And so, not being able to leave well enough alone, I responded. I said, thanks for responding / admitting it. But is that the right thing to do? I put right in quotes, of course, because that's their new company motto. Even though they're trying to get rid of that motto, it used to be don't be evil. And then they changed it to do the right thing. And now they took that apparently out of their handbook. And now it's just at the very end of their handbook to try and do the right thing. So I said, thanks for responding and admitting it. But is that the right thing to do? 1, having a bias. And 2, being the scientific one, given that not everyone does. It doesn't matter that I agree with almost every decision the benevolent dictator makes. The danger is in being a dictatorship. So what I mean by that is that, yeah, I would probably agree. I would, of course, you guys know me. You could probably guess that I would tend more towards scientific truth as well, aka known as objective truth, aka known as the real truth, facts, these kinds of things. I'm not much of a postmodernist. But the problem is that they're not just serving me, they're serving the entire world, and a whole bunch of the world thinks there's different kinds of truths and thinks that that's important, and probably would want their information search to be based on their version of it. Or maybe instead of a drop down, that should be a checkbox. Like, yeah, I want scientific truth, plus I want you to, for my moral truths, I want you to use Catholicism, and you could literally have a drop down. And for my sexual mores, I'd like polytheism, whatever it is, right? I said, but so my point is that it doesn't matter that I'm agreeing with you here, Paul. I would tend towards scientific truth too. The problem is that the problem with a benevolent dictator is that it's a dictatorship, right? And he's responded and he said, it's the decision we've made. Like, okay, again, thanks for admitting it. We need to be able to describe what good search results are. Those decisions are reflected in our product. Ultimately, someone who disagrees with our principles may want a different product. There may be a market niche for them. So that, of course, is Google's tired old response that, well, we're a private search engine and we're allowed to do whatever we want, which, of course, I would take issue with, and I have in my documentary, which a lot of things are happening with my documentary right now. It's going to be somewhere really soon. In fact, I'll tell you, I was all ready to start doing a soft launch on iTunes in certain countries only, because I want to try and sneak it out there and let it get popular first before Google sues the hell out of me or whatever they're going to do. But just a couple days ago, someone called me and wants to buy it. And so I'm like, oh, stop everything, pull the plug on iTunes, and now I might sell the documentary. So we'll see. So this is the ongoing saga of that. But anyway, in my documentary and in my TEDx talk about Google, I talk about how I don't think that answer that he gave me is a good one, because they're really, in my opinion, they're really a public utility at this point. It's the search utility of the internet. It's the control F of the internet. That doesn't get to be private. Electricity doesn't get to be private, or at least it's government regulated. It needs to be government regulated or publicly controlled, one or the other, in my opinion. But we don't have to debate that on the show. I just want to show you what was new in my neck of the woods. And I'm, again, arguing with Google. And that's what's going on with me. What's going on with you guys? You guys have an opinion about that? Or do you want to talk about something else? It's up to you.
I think those guys, they're kind of in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, especially on that fake news topic.
Yeah.
I kind of like that they're going and trying to find the scientific facts, because basic on scientific models, and everyone can judge what the version of the right science is later down the road. But my issue is everyone knows that those search raters are over in third world countries making pennies on a dollar to judge websites, and how is a guy or gal in India supposed to tell me as an American what is fake news in America? I don't think they can do it. I think it's, I think honestly, if we're going to make Google provide that quality, that they should have U.S. reviewers searching and reviewing U.S. websites. They should have Indian reviewers reviewing Indian websites, and people in Pakistan should review the Pakistani websites. And that's the only way to actually, in my opinion, to knock that out properly.
It's kind of interesting that America is in danger of having their political process subverted by a third world country, Russia. So they hire another third world country, India,
to validate
what is American culture.
Yeah.
because of course, truth is often tied to culture in the postmodern sense. And so what Americans think is fake news or not is being set by Russia and determined by India. What? This doesn't seem to make much sense at all. I mean, I deny the whole postmodern sense of truth anyway, but ignoring that, it's weird that it's like this weird, what is going on here? This is kind of funny. That's blowing my mind. All right.
About Americans, that a bunch of people can put out some fake blog posts, and that Americans are supposedly, you could be a little bit of loser angst, but saying that people are so dumb that they believe these 165 ads or whatever it was put out, or 165 accounts, and that influenced the presidential election. So, to me, I think the Russia thing is kind of a smokescreen, so the politicians don't have to go, "Hey, Americans, you guys are dumb and you voted for this dude."
Don't worry, the rest of the world is saying that.
Yeah, exactly. So why don't just go ahead and say it for what it is? You're gullible. You follow the media. This should just prove to show you that your resources of news are not Facebook.
I agree, and this is the last philosophical point I'll make before we move on to SEO. That ultimately, no matter how you try and make the systems police truth, that's a very dangerous thing to do. Google should not be policing the truth in any way, shape, or form, because they have their biases, and he just admitted it, like point blank. Yes, we have our biases. Here they are. It's in our 3.2 of our guidelines. Like, so at least they admitted it, right?
I don't think they have to, really. They got to set up a guideline. So, from a black hat perspective, I read. There's a great book. I forget the title is just off the head of me right now, but they're basically marketers have been using that fake news model and manipulating the press for years and years and years. I say, do it.
I mean, that's the other thing that's really interesting about this is that essentially SEO destroyed the American election. It was essentially internet marketers who in Russia who are very good at black hat SEO. It's essentially black hats using SEO and internet marketing tactics who changed the election and changed everyone's opinions and made everyone so divisive and inflamed the left and inflamed the right.
Well, Obama was popular, but Obama used social media. He was the first president to leverage social media to win an election.
Of course he did.
Trump was like, hey, Trump and all his marketers, the dude's a marketing genius, in my opinion. He's got everyone playing a fiddle. You either hate him or like him, but you're going to have a position on him. So that's all he cares about.
And you know him.
Yeah. Exactly. So to me, I think it's just, it's kind of all horse-wash bull crap. So I say learn from what Trump did, learn from what Obama did and how to leverage that, and learn from what those Russian guys did. That's, you're going to make money, you're going to make traffic, and if you want to be elected, just run some Facebook ads and make some bull crap up about your you're gonna do it because people are just gullible enough to follow it.
More or less. But I agree what you said, that ultimately it comes down to an educational problem. That everybody has to be smart enough to know how to check their own facts before they form an opinion. And this, I don't know about the US, I'm guessing the US too, but in Canada, they're teaching that less and less. And I think that that's the problem, is that we're just dumb. We're lazy and dumb. We just believe anything we're told.
We're just as a creature, we're just we're looked at. You're a white hat guy, so you're gonna look for white hat things to support your white hat philosophies. And if someone says, "Hey, no, let's do this with black hat," you obviously might be a little bit exception because you came out of a black hat background, but you're going to be less inclined. You're going to be less inclined to follow or agree with the black hat opinion because you're already set in stone. I'm going to do white hat. It's the same with politics. Same with any other topic. You're going to look for stuff that supports your narrative. And if you hate Trump, then you're going to find a whole bunch of blogs about hate Trump. Yes, look how right I am. You're not going to go look at the other ones, the counter arguments.
Right.
Or even take them seriously. So
didn't it used to be a law in the States that if you had a left-wing perspective, you had to have a right-wing perspective after it?
Not that I know of.
I thought, like way back in the 50s or 60s, I thought that was a law for news pieces, that they had to have two opposing views. Anyway, if it wasn't, it should be. That's a pretty good law, I think, to have.
Yeah, I think that's probably in that campaign finance reform crap that we've been trying to, McCain, that dude's going to die, unfortunately, from brain tumor before he gets his campaign finance reforms that he's been running on for the last 10, 15 years. I think it's just going to get worse. And we're going to see more of these clowns, and we're going to see how easy it is to manipulate the media and get them to talk about you. And that's all that Trump was successful. He did it. He was like, I'm not going to win against Hillary, so what do I do to get people talking about me? And then he turned on the racist rhetoric, he turned on the sexist rhetoric.
Right. Yeah.
He pisses people off every day on Twitter, and everyone just eats it up like it's just you know, it just makes me laugh as a marketer. That he's just playing them like a fiddle.
Yes, it's perfect. It's genius marketing.
Yep.
It's genius marketing. Okay, so let's move on. So, is there anything new going on in the Black Hat world, guys? Or anything new you want to talk about, or we want to go right to questions? So today, guys, before the Black Hats answer here, I just want to say we're going to be answering SEO questions today. If you have any SEO questions, if you're watching live on YouTube, please ask them in the chat. You should see the chat on the top right-hand side. And if you can ask a question with some asterisks, that would be good, because then I can see them with my giant Coke bottle glasses here that I can't read. It's hard for me to see. I see you asking some questions here. Great. So you guys have any new Black Hat stuff, or should we move right to questions here?
I say go to questions. Unless Holly has anything.
All right, let's do it. So Mark here joined from the SEO Intelligence Agency, the SIA Skype group. I posted, as I always do, because I'm a member there, and in my own White Hat group versus Black Hat group, I post the URL to join. If you ever want to join the show live, join my Skype group, and then you can join the show live. And he was asking about keyword density. And Mark, do you, if you have a microphone, do you want to ask your question now? Go ahead.
Yeah, so basically, I'm sort of aware that there's a limit on keyword density after which, if you go over that, there's kind of, you start to get penalized. So I kind of had two questions. Like, first is, how do you actually define what keyword density is? You know, does it include the header, the footer? Like, what's in scope for the total and what's not? And then second is, what is the number that you should be aiming for?
That's a great question. We've done a lot of testing about that. SIA has done a lot of testing into that. Kyle from SIA, and also my testing group in White Hat versus Black Hat has done a lot of testing into that. And the answer is rather surprising. I'm going to give you two answers. And the first answer is the easy one, where you don't have to sign up for a service. The easy way to do it is the keyword density that I'm talking about in both models is the document object model keyword density. So for the most part, it's just what you see on the screen that is rendered for the most part. You can include the image alt attributes if you want, but for the most part, it's the stuff you see. Now, what you need to do is, if your keyword density, you need to, well, you still need a service. Sorry, there's two services. It's Service Lite and Service Big. You need to download serpworx. I'll type that in. That's SERPWORX. And that is a SERP overlay that gives you the average keyword density of everybody on page one. You just move your mouse over and you'll be able to see the average keyword density. Again, for people listening in the podcast and on YouTube, that is serpworx, SERPWORX. And it's a great SERP overlay. And then, so let's say everybody on the SERP on average is at 0.2% keyword density for the search, which is what you want to rank for. Then you want to be at 0.3 to 0.39. You do not want to exceed 0.4. You do not want to be 100% more than what they are. If they're at 0.5, you want to be at 0.99 or 0.9, not 120%, because that would be too much, right? So you don't want to go double. So let's say if they mention the keyword 10 times, you want to mention it 18 times, 15 to 18 times, no more than that. Because 20 would be double, that'd be too much. 25, if they were all at 10, would be way too much, you'd be over-optimized. That's the territory where you start to see drops. Now, that's the first answer. That's the easier answer. The harder answer is that actually the science of the way Google is doing keyword density is actually much more complex, surprisingly so. And it's in two ways. One, the keyword spots that they're checking for keywords in them. And two, the variance of what you need to have in these spots. So Kyle has done a whole lot of testing in this, and he is actually found that Google tracks each keyword spot separately and compares you separately in each keyword spot to all the other pages and their keyword spots. So what are the keyword spots? The keyword spots are the URL, the meta title, any H1 or H2, any heading tags, bold tags, unordered lists. I've also discovered that it is div ID attributes. It is name attributes. It includes not title attributes. It does not include class attributes. And so some of these inside the HTML and some of these are in the rendered DOM. Technically, these are all in the document object model. There's properties of objects, really technically. So it's the same answer. It's always the document object model content that Google's using, but it's certain select properties. Like the class property would be in there too, but they're not using it. So it's only select places they're using, and they're comparing your title versus their title, how many keywords, and how many keyword variations. So that's how complex it is. So it's keyword spots compared to all the pages for keywords and keyword variations, so partial match or synonyms as well. And you need, again, to be around the same as everybody else, if not slightly higher. And that includes the length of the page, that includes the keyword spots. And that's really hard to do manually. And so to do that, we use a tool. It's Kyle's tool. I'll give it to you guys here. I'll put it in the chat. I mentioned it before. It's page optimizer .pro. And to get 5 free credits in the system, just use the coupon code JOSH5. We get 5 free credits in the system. So Mark, because you're here, I'll type that in. It's page optimizer.pro. Yeah, I think I typed it right. Again, you can use JOSH5, 5 free credits in that system. And the tool is a little complex to use, but it's kind of, for me, it's kind of refreshing, and it's super awesome. Like Kyle's done that. He's researched all that. He's proven all this scientifically, and he's got a tool now to do it. And I can show you, I have screenshots and screenshots of successes using this thing. So I won't bore you guys again with that unless you ask me to. I've got screenshots and screenshots of how things have gotten better using it. One time it got worse because we over optimized. We went too much over, and we literally, because what a page actually does is it ranks for what Kyle likes to call keyword clusters. I like to call keyword families. Just like on AdWords, there's keyword families, and Google's going to choose you to rank for keyword families that kind of have like an exact match keyword in the middle and then a bunch of synonyms around it. And Google's going to have you ranking for this keyword family, or it's going to have you ranking for this keyword family or this keyword family. So we were trying to optimize for this keyword family, but unfortunately we over-optimized for it and properly optimized for another keyword family. So we started ranking #1 for these keywords and not these keywords. The problem is that these keywords had the better impressions and the better buying intent, and they started ranking higher for these keywords with less impressions. So the rankings more or less stayed the same, but it was the wrong keyword family. I didn't want to rank for this one. I want to rank for this one because it had more impressions, better CTR, better purchases. So I had to go, oops, sorry, and we had to change it back, and it's on-page changes, so it changed back, no problem. So sorry, that's a very long, complex answer to what you thought maybe was probably a very simple question. But I like it because this is the meat, this is the nuts and bolts. This is the meat and potatoes of SEO, and it's robust, and it is not easy to do, and it's a good service you can provide for people.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Thanks very much for that. My eyes have definitely been opened. I was expecting you to come back with like a number, 4% or something, but this gives me a lot to work on. Another question: the Page Optimizer Pro. How sort of scalable is that? I mean, are you able to run this against 1,000 pages and optimize them that way, or?
No. Yeah. If you wanted a more powerful tool like that, you'd have to use something called Cora. Cora is a much more robust tool that Ted Kubaitis, who's sometimes on the show, built. Really, Page Optimizer Pro is used for like 5 to 10 competitors that you manually choose.
I see. Okay. How do you spell that other one? Cora?
Cora is, here, if you want Cora, I'll put the link in to get a 25% discount on Cora. It's in the chat. It's bit.ly/get-Cora. And I will put that in the chat here. Get 25% off Cora. Ted is going to be releasing the new version of Cora very shortly. And so it's going to be super exciting. And I keep telling Kyle and Ted that they need all these new keyword spots that are being watched by Google that I'm finding through my experiments, my single variable experiments. I keep telling them, you need to put that in the tool, but I don't know if they're listening to me. Nobody listens to me. Everyone in their right mind knows not to listen to anything Josh says. Okay, so moving on to the questions. Let's try to move on here and get all these questions answered. Stephen Hockman asks, I have a page with 23 tips on XYZ, or XYZ for you Americans. I updated it to have 34 tips. The URL is 23 tips XYZ. If I change it to tips XYZ and create redirect, will it impact rankings? Should I leave the URL alone? My answer is yes, it's going to impact rankings. it could possibly lose rankings for that page, and that could last a day. It could last a few months. It probably will move over fine, but you kind of have to change it because you're kind of lying to the user, and they might get a little pissed off, but I doubt it. I don't know, Clint, what do you think about that?
I'm leery of changing URLs unless you absolutely have to. However, once you do it, if you set up the redirect right, it'll come back. It's going to scare the hell out of you because it'll disappear for, you know, a month, and then it'll come back to where it was. So you just got to be cognizant of that. And if you're doing it to a client site, give them a heads up. Let them know that that's, you know, because they're going to freak out. I can tell you from experience, they will freak out when it happens. So give them the heads up. Let them know it's going to bounce a little bit, but everything will be all right at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree completely. I wouldn't change the URL, but now that you changed the tips, could you make it the same number of tips? You don't have to change it. How about that?
I would leave it, even if you're changing it. If you're doing changing the content and changing the URL, then you're gonna have to wait for the redirect power to see where it lands, and then you're gonna re-optimize it.
And then they have to reprocess it. Yeah.
Yep.
So sorry, Stephen, we're not much help there. I probably wouldn't change it. I would say 23 tips, and then somewhere in the page I would say bonus 9 tips.
Yep, that's what I would do.
And then bonus 11 tips or bonus 9 tips? Bonus 11 tips.
Bonus, however, or update. We updated this on, and then you can change your date on your post and get the freshness algorithm out of it. Yeah,
exactly. Then you hit the QDF. So that's great that way.
Brian Dean does that with all of his posts. I think he's got 15, 20 posts on his site, and all he does is every year he just re-updates the same piece of content. So that's what I would do. Go look at Brian Dean's blog, see how he's doing it, and do it the same way.
Yeah, you can definitely do it that way. The firm in UK asks, does Google penalize affiliate links in the first few paragraphs? What do you think, Clint? I know what my opinion is, but
no, I think I've always been of the sound that if I'm going to have an affiliate link, I'll use pretty links and use the domain. Unless I'm sending it to someplace like Amazon, which is kind of trusted. But if you're going to send it to ClickBank and Commission Junction and all that crap, I use pretty links. And then I don't have to worry about that. Knowing their history, AdWords, they built AdWords off the back of affiliates, and now they hate affiliates. It's pretty much the same with SEO. They build a search engine off the back of affiliates, and now they hate affiliates, so they're gonna smash those things. So why take the risk and just get pretty links and click them?
True. I haven't tested it yet. I can't remember if we tested affiliate links. I think we did test it, and I don't think it had an effect.
I don't think that it would. I think, honestly, it just kind of looks, you stand out more as an SEO blog, especially in that affiliate market. So it's just a little bit easier. It's cleaner. People are looking at your links. They're going to land on these landing pages. They kind of trust you, especially when you keep it cloaked so that they see your original domain in there. It's just, I think it's kind of along the lines of linking to Wikipedia to judge authority. We saw what happened in that test, so why risk it? Why wait for them to change the rules? Cloaking and using pretty links, you can change your affiliate links in the background and not have to worry about messing with all your content.
True. Yeah. So I mean, it's I don't think it showed in testing that it had a problem, but at the same time, I don't trust Google, and our testing is not, our testing is not super comprehensive, right? It's just a test on one site. Maybe Google didn't give us a penalty on one page for one affiliate link, but maybe if you had a whole bunch on your site, maybe they would start dealing you quality problems or something, or like you're like one check mark against you. So you could just avoid the problem and use pretty links as my esteemed Black Hat co-host had mentioned.
Pretty links and/or no follow, then you'll stay out of trouble.
Let me see. James Brigstown says, lol, he almost said YouTube. Yes, I almost said YouTube. But no, I wasn't going to distribute my documentary on YouTube. That would have been silly. It would have been taken down in about a second. No, I'm trying to actually get money for it. And I was going to put it for rental or purchase on iTunes. But as I said, some guy just called me from New York, and he's thinking about buying it. So wish me luck. We'll see. I'll see if he works for Google and just want to buy it and then cap it and no one ever talks about it. And we'll see if I'm okay with that at this point. No, the story has to get out. The story is important. All right. Doodle Digital Marketing says, if I add text to page with content reveal, questions with answers hidden, click to see text, so like a hidden div with a tab, does Google see the hidden text? I want to add thousands of words, but keep landing page looking good. The answer is yes, Google sees that text, and yes, they use it for ranking. We don't know about links that are hidden, how much juice they pass, but Kyle has tested hidden text in the page, and you can get it ranking for that hidden text. Ever since the mobile first indexing came out, they're reading the entire page and ranking you based on what they find. And so also, I would be very careful adding thousands of words to your landing page. You could very easily go over threshold. You can go over threshold for content. If all the other content ranking on page 1 has around 500 words and you have 10,000, you are probably going to get a detriment. So, so that is something that Kyle was able to prove empirically. So I would be very careful why you want to add all this content, and I would be careful with that. Lisa Pavlova, she asks, with a thick Russian accent, I don't know if you're Russian, sorry, it just sound Russian to me. Can I link from same sharing hosting sites to each other? I have 3 sites in same hosting package and get the benefits of do follow links. Thanks. Can I link from the same sharing hosting sites to each other? I have 3 sites in the same hosting package. Yes. Yes, of course. You could do that. There's no problem with that. What do you think, Clint? I don't see a problem with that.
Well, it's only 3 sites. You're linking them together. There's, people have multiple sites, and they do that. There's corporations that do it and dominate in Google, so I think you're okay. You don't want to make 3, a bunch of PBNs and put them on the same hosting, but if you're 3 legitimate money sites and they're all part of the same brand, then go for it.
Yeah, go ahead. It's not going to really help you much either, but I don't see a problem with it.
It could. It'd pass the juice flow. I'd find my 2 weakest sites, link those together, and then link them to that one good site and leave it like that. That's what I would do. There
you go. Then you start generating some power. But I don't see a problem with it. You didn't even do it, right? It's your hosting package doing it. That's what I'm reading into the question. So yeah, start backlinking up those other pages as microsites, and you have yourself a semi-justifiable PBN on your hands. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions going on here. Jordan Pierce is here. Hey, Jordan, thanks for joining and talking in the chat there. Joel Navarez says, Page Optimizer Pro is a bit difficult to read. I agree. And Clint says he wants to get Kyle on the show to talk. Yeah, Clint makes a joke here that Kyle travels a lot. he's always somewhere presenting at some conference. He's literally he's gone on the show. He's been in Milan. He's been in Spain. He's been in all these different places. And I'm like, do you ever go home? Do you have a home? What's going on? So he couldn't give me a firm date on the conference in August that I'm throwing because he's going to be somewhere else and going on. So I have an announcement I'll probably make about the conference later on. But yeah, I do. So talking about Page Optimizer Pro, again, it's really good. It's a really good tool for doing your page optimization. I can totally recommend it. But here's the issue: is that I've had some writers of my own on my team that have had trouble using it because it does require a little bit of thinking. You got to kind of know what the exact match keyword is, what some good variations are, some good partial match of that is, what makes sense. You have to kind of look at the SERP. Well, here, let me show you. So you need to look at the SERP here. And let's say I want to do, what's a keyword there, Clint? What's a nice family-friendly keyword I could try and optimize for?
Just do city web design.
I could do web design courses. How about that one? That's a good one. Web design courses. Okay, so let's say I want to optimize for web design courses. What I need to do here is, here's what serpworx would look like. Just because I talked about it. For those of you who have never seen serpworx before. So it's a nice little tool. You can don't suck at design.
That's awesome.
That's the first rule. Don't suck at it.
Don't suck at design.
That's a pretty good rule of life. If you want to be a plumber, don't suck at plumbing. If you want to be a designer, don't suck at being a designer.
I bet you they get good CTR through that.
I bet you they do. So here's what the nice thing about serpworx is that he averages it all out. So if you just want to know what it would take to rank there, the average page authority is 46. Average trust flow is 53. Average keyword density is 0.05%. So going by the model, the first model I gave Mark, you wouldn't want to be any higher than 0.9% keyword density, not very high at all. And that's the other reason why it's so good to be optimizing for on-page stuff these days, is because everyone's forgotten about it. Everyone's forgotten about on-page and keyword density, and are just thinking about, oh, Google says it doesn't matter anymore, so I'm just going to try and make a quality site. Well, you do need to make a quality site, but let me tell you the secret that keyword density still matters like a son of a bitch. So that's what serpworx will give you, but forget serpworx for now. So let's say I was using Kyle's Page Optimizer Pro tool, and I had to go in here. Now, what is the you have to know searches a bit. Like, what is the intent for this query? This search query is out of the tier of Google searches, no queries, no do queries, and do queries. Where would you put this, Clint? Web design courses.
That would be more of a no. I'm still shopping. I'm looking around to see what's out there.
Right.
My vocabulary, I call that an informational search term.
Right. It's more of an informational search, and it could be a little bit going into the do. They might almost be ready to buy. They might want a list of web design courses to sign up for one, but they're probably still, it's like 80% no, maybe 20% do. So what you need to do is you need to say, okay, here's, let's say this was my page here. Let's say I was Linda and this was my page here. Tutorials on Linda or by Linda. What do you mean the tutorials are on Linda? They're written on her skin? Like what? I got to click here. Sorry. Now I got to find out what this is.
You don't know what Linda is?
Apparently not. Her right there? Oh, it's some kind of library thing. Okay, I get it.
It's a full training course library set. It's owned by LinkedIn. So if you have a premium account, you get access to the entire thing.
Oh, I see. I thought it was some chick. Some chick Linda was giving web design tutorials. So you need to see, and so Kyle's tool would read the H1, it would read the text, it would read all the special spots, it would read all these course names here, which are probably H3s or something, which might therefore be over optimized. And that's what we find quite often. Stuff is way over optimized that you didn't know about. And so you got to think, okay, if this is the kind of page, if it's going to be a list of courses, then when you go back here, you're going to be like, okay, it's the list of courses that I'm competing with. So for web design courses. So you're not going to choose the ads. You're going to ignore the ads. All these ones here, you're going to ignore. And you're going to go, okay, you're going to choose this one as a competitor. You're going to choose this web design list course as a competitor. You're going to choose this web design list as a competitor. And all these ones that are the same as this one. So it's an apples to apples comparison. Because what happens sometimes is, like, for example, if I were to do like blue shirts, then you're getting, well, this is maybe a bad example. Oh, that's not a good image to have showing up. But
how is that even relevant? Wikipedia.
Yeah, it's more fake news. Yeah, look at this. There's Nazi salutes. What is going on here? There's more fake news. There's more Russians. I can't believe we had this. Oh, the blue shirts were some kind of fascism group in Ireland or something. That's why it's coming up.
Oh,
weird. Okay, so it wasn't the Russians' fault. It's the Irish fault this time, I guess, or something. But so you'd have to choose what was appropriate. Like if you want a product page with blue shirts, then you shouldn't be choosing this Wikipedia page, right?
I wouldn't even choose that.
Probably because it doesn't make any sense. I chose a bad example. So let's do plaid. How do you spell plaid? Plaid shirts like that? Yeah. Plaid shirts for men. Okay.
Oh.
So this is clearly a list of plaid shirts. This is clearly a list of plaid shirts. This is clearly a list of plaid shirts. that's the kind of, if that's the page you have, that's the kind of competition you want to choose. You would not want to choose, what they do sometimes is they put up, they sometimes put up a YouTube here, or sometimes they'll put up an Amazon here, or sometimes they'll put up a, you know, something that is, our Wikipedia. Sometimes they'll put up something that is clearly not, its query deserves diversity, and they don't know what you want, so they're just throwing up stuff there. And you don't want to use those as competitors in Kyle's Page Optimizer Pro tool. So that's what I'm saying, is that the tool is powerful, just like Core is powerful, and you pretty much only, and they're making it more idiot proof as they go along, but they are pretty much only as good as the tool as the user. So you got to try to use those tools carefully. And if you do, you get super good results. You get crazy results. I've gotten crazy results. I've already humble bragged about all the results, so I'm not going to do it anymore. So Butch and Holly, I see Butch is here and Holly is here. Holly, you haven't said much yet. Butch, you haven't said anything. How you doing?
Good. How you doing? I had you on mute because I'm in my office, whatever. But I also do outside SEO stuff. So.
Oh, not a problem, Butch. Thanks for joining. Do you have an SEO question today?
Do you have a specific tool that you think is better than any other? I know, you know, trying to find keyword density percentage can be a little tricky because it depends on what things are you looking at and not looking at. But is there like one tool that you would say is better than the others if you wanted to look at your density?
Yeah, I just use Page Optimizer Pro.
Yeah.
Sorry, Clint, go ahead.
There's Page Optimizer Pro that he talked about, and serpworx that he talked about, and you just kind of know what they're looking at.
Okay.
But my suggestion is kind of do what I do. I don't use serpworx because I know they're looking at the DOM. I want to know what's in the content,
okay,
the body of the content. So I find a tool that's just going to give me the counts out of that, the content body, versus what like serpworx does is the DOM. Because you see how low serpworx shows it, but if you go over there and actually do the math and do the counts, you know that that's not right.
Gotcha.
And I think, like what Josh was talking about, where Google's checking these different parts, I think the body of the content is probably where the priority is at. So that's what I follow, and it works for me. So,
okay.
And you can just bring up any. I think Serpbook has a really good one. There's another site called technicalseo.com. They have one that does the body of the content too. You just got to pick your poison and which one you want to follow.
And are we, are we
a little jumpy because I put sites in Kyle's tool where it told me I needed 5,000 words just because one site had 10,000 and it screwed everything up. So you gotta go ahead and you got to look at that and just kind of apply some common sense. Obviously, get rid of the outliers based on that common sense, and you're just making really at that point a nice educated guess.
And if I remember from Kyle's on-page thing through SIA, he doesn't really set like a specific density across the board. He does it more like based on the competition. So if the competition average keyword density is like 2 points, what is he? It's like 1.5 points or something like that he said to go above what they're doing.
Right.
Okay.
And basically, it's based off the keyword. So like WordPress SEO is a good example. That one, the average keyword density is like 9% for that term.
Gotcha.
So you got to look at the specific keyword. A good example of how you can screw that up is what Josh just did with the blue shirts. Or something completely different than what your intent is.
Right.
So, and a lot of people miss that. They go in Search Console, they see this page with a whole bunch of traffic or a whole bunch of search volume, and they go optimize it, and then they go to the search results and wonder why they're not ranking for blue shirts. Well, it's obviously because Google's not selling blue shirts on that page. So,
right.
I think it all starts there, and then it all starts keyword by keyword, and that's the benefit of just, where Josh's point, where I kind of wanted to get him going before he started off on the tirade, was that Quora,
me,
and serpworx, those tools are designed for people who like to think for themselves and get out of the marketplace that are, internet marketing and SEO. Those tools are all designed for the people who want things to do things for them because they're going to rank in a week.
Right.
These ones actually apply some common sense, etc. And it just, a lot of people don't get that, and that's why it's harder for them to interpret the information. And that's Cora and Ted and Kyle's fault for not completely explaining in their sales process and in their training videos how to leverage that stuff. But it's also mostly on us for not taking the time to actually learn what the hell that they're doing and why.
there's a whole lot of blame to go around for everybody.
So the challenge I have with a lot of that stuff is, you know, I run an SEO department for a marketing agency. So we have like 200 clients, a handful of people in my department. And so I'm always trying to find things that are scalable across the board that aren't going to take too much time for any one client and try to benefit all clients. But at the same time, you know, obviously use, you know, best practices and the things that work the most. So that's where it becomes challenging, because there are certain things where I feel like, you know, they're time crunchers, like they're time heavy, but they're worth the time. But how do I get that so that, you know, 7 or 8 people can do that for 20 plus clients, you know, each month? You know, that's where this all gets tricky, I think, for me.
I'm in the same boat at Over the Top, because I live and die by Cora, and some of my staff use it, but at scale, it's just not feasible. I have to hire someone just to run Cora every day for all of these. So what we do is we use SEMrush. Their site audit is actually pretty good compared to everyone else's. So we
have that here. Yeah.
We push everyone to keep them at 90%.
Okay.
For Over the Top. If you're not at 90%, we're not even messing with the advanced stuff. And then we go ahead and do the, you know, the basic stuff that everyone does, the title tags, the H tags, all that madness. And then we look at the traffic and we bounce it off of, and most of our clients were running PPC too. We bounce it off of conversions, and high conversion, high traffic sites is where we invest our time in Cora. And that makes it a little bit easier to scale.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we do a lot of PPC. Most of our clients are auto dealers, so they do a ton of PPC.
Yeah. So you're golden. You got all kinds of intelligence there.
Right. Okay. Cool. No, I love your guys' stuff. I try to watch it, you know, live. I don't get to usually, you know, I always have links. I've got 7 or 8 tabs open at all times to try to catch up on some of your past videos, you know. So I really like the fact that you guys do this stuff. I appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. Some other ideas. I totally hear what you guys are saying in terms of the scalability. I take a slightly different tact in that I'm trying to kind of give a custom approach. You might need to charge more. You know, but I have to admit, it's a trouble. I had to just let go of a writer today because he couldn't wrap his brain around Kyle's tool. He just couldn't do it. But I've found good people on Upwork that could figure out how to use Kyle's tool, and I've got them updating pages, and those are the results you've seen that I've been able to get. So I know they can use it properly.
Right.
And yeah, it's a staffing issue. It's a time issue like anything else. You're right, Cora. The problem is, and this is the issue, is that everyone wants SEO to be easy. But Google keeps making it harder, and they make it harder in a bunch of different kinds of ways. In one way, it's like Cora. The philosophy of Cora and Page Optimizer Pro is that all ranking is brute force ranking on one keyword to one page. So part of the reason why Clint very wisely said that he'd have to hire a guy to just run Cora is because it's not like you can run Cora on the site for all the queries. You have to run Cora on each query he wants to rank for, more or less. And
Right.
you might want to rank for 1,000 different queries, right?
Right.
And the same thing with Page Optimizer Pro. It's one page to one query. So I tell the client, okay, what's your top 5 keywords you want to rank for? What are your 5 pages based on that? He, you know, after 50 emails of the client trying to figure out what I mean by that, you know, some clients are right there, some are not. You know,
Yeah.
I love all my clients. Don't clients get angry. But you know, sometimes you have to be like, okay, because that's how it works. Like when it gets down to the nuts and bolts of it, after I do my audit, and after I do all my soft stuff, and after we tweak your technical, and after we try to improve your conversion rate optimization for your quality, now I'm just tell me your keywords. Like it comes down to a basic SEO campaign at that point. I'm like, stop talking to me. I charge a lot per hour. Just tell me what your keywords are. I'll give them to my guy. He'll do it. She'll do it. Actually, she's fantastic. She'll do it. We'll get it updated. I will check the results. If we win, which is 95% of the time, 98% of the time, great. If it doesn't work, we go, oops, put it back, or we'll check it again. And oh, well, look, we over optimized on this, or you know, and then you move forward like that, right? So yeah. But but the problem is you got to do it. You don't have to do it. In my opinion, you have to do it. And for me, I have to do it because I know how to get those results. Like all those screenshots I share of all the lines going up, they're not lies. They're not somebody else's sites. They're my sites, right? And they are from 2018. But in order for me to produce that, I need to follow my process. I have a philosophy of SEO based on my experience, based on my experiments. So I like to think it's a better philosophy than most because I have experimental knowledge to prove it. And all my friends do experimental stuff, and everyone I talk to is on the same wavelength, right? I'm not in the other SEO groups because they don't like me, because I always say that's bullshit. You have no experiments to prove this, and they're like, I like the religious approach to SEO. And I'm like, okay, well, fine, well, F off, because you're ripping your clients off. And then for some reason they don't like me. I don't know why they don't like me when I say that. But and not that my philosophy and my theories based on experiments leads into my process. And so if I don't follow it step by step, I can't promise those results that I humble brag about every week. So it all ties in together.
I got
I
you.
get it with the car guys. I had a car client too, and you're not only fighting with the marketing dude at the dealership, you're fighting with every one of the salesmen too, who are in the marketing guy's ear saying, no, it's not working, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, car dealers, that's a special one. I've always just went after branding for them. Buy cars in the city that they're in, and
you know what's kind of strange about this is I just got into the car dealer market. I've been here now just about a year. Before that, I was doing like various like cosmetic doctors and other markets. It seems like with the car dealers, especially for SEO, like a lot of the standard stuff, like if you have a cosmetic doctor, you know, they want to know just a couple of things. They have their couple, 2, 3 top procedures, like Josh was talking about. They want to, you know, be on page 1 for those specific keywords for their geolocal, right? I mean, basic stuff. They want their phone to ring, so you know you set up your little call tracking and conversion tracking and show them that they're getting some quality leads. And as long as their calendars, booked, they're cool with that. The car dealers, like, they almost don't even really care like what you're showing them for SEO if they didn't sell cars that month. And I get it. Obviously, we're here to help our clients make more money to do whatever it is they're doing. Yeah. But like even keyword stuff, like when I first got here, like the SEO reports didn't even have like a list of keywords. We have them internally, but most of the clients don't even ask for them. They don't even talk about them. They don't even whatever. They're just like, am I selling more cars or not? So yeah. I'm trying to get it to the point where we're showing them some of that ROI, so we can at least say, hey, what we are doing for you SEO wise, it should be working because look at these results. So it's definitely it's been a hard one for me to get my head wrapped around because I've never really run into this kind of market before where they're just like, we don't care about any of that stuff. Like 90% of them just don't care to even look at this stuff. They just want to know, I didn't sell as many cars last month, so whatever you're doing isn't working. You know what I mean? Right. It's tricky.
You gotta be able to speak their language, and it's harder with used car guys and new car guys. New car guys kind of get it. Used car guys are like, they're wishing they were new car guys.
Yeah, we pretty much stay away from the used car because exactly that. You're absolutely right.
Being able to talk turn and how your stuff is helping them increase their turn levels. And for those of you guys that don't know, a turn is from the time they bring that new car in to the time they get rid of that car. They want that to be a shorter period of time.
Right, because the longer it goes on, they get less money from the actual OEM. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They pay money, have to have it on the lot every month as well.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So, yeah, those honestly, I'm all for it. You guys, I'll hand all my used car guys to you if you want. Those guys are horrible people to deal with.
Because SEO is so far removed from the car buying process.
Yeah.
Well, it is because you're going to
search one step too far.
That are looking for, and then these guys aren't even the searchers. They're not even sure they want a car. They're going to find a specific car, and if you're doing your site-wide, maybe your listing will show up. But for the most part, it's all about that salesman, and the marketing guys at those lots don't give a shit about the quality of the salesman. They just want to get people in that's going to make sales, and their turn for those guys is high too.
Right.
And what happens is the salesman tells the marketing guy, the SEO guy is not giving them the right leads, and then the marketing guy is like, well, then the SEO is not working. In fact, what it is we're bringing in the best possible client that we can with SEO, and your sales guys are shit. You need to hire better sales guys. And typically the owners don't want to hear that because the sales guy is there with that owner and that marketing guy every day. And you're the dude that comes in once or twice a week or once or twice a month and says, here's what we did. And they're like, yeah, so what?
Yeah, there could be a bit of a bro culture.
Yep.
Right.
Guys,
There's definitely a bro culture. You go to just go do attempt to sell at your local auto mall, and you'll get beat up because there's usually one marketing agency doing that entire mall, and they've got them set into this is what SEO is and what it should be and how you do it. It's pretty bad.
It's very clicky for sure. I definitely found that out like the hard way in a couple of cases. So yeah, but like I said, this stuff is always real helpful, and I really appreciate that you guys do this stuff because it's nothing better than talking to fellow SEO nerds about SEO. Because,
every nerd has to find their nerd group, and
Right.
you found us. You found us, Butch. I should play some wedding music now. Da, 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 da. Okay, I got to run at 2 o'clock, so I want to make sure I answer everyone's question if possible. Deirdre Calendar asks, "Hey Clint, is your PBN hosting dispersed throughout the world? ?
No. My PBN hosting, I use PBN. It's pbn.hosting, I think the name of the URL, and I let them worry about the hosting stuff, and I put all that stuff on their site, on there. As I understand the backend, it's all using cloud sites, so it works for me. I've never been caught, don't have anything burned, so I stick with what works. A lot of people go out and buy different hosting accounts at 100 different hosting places, etc. I don't mess with all that madness. At that point, it's not worth it to me.
Okie dokie. Steven asks, publishing an expert roundup soon, hoping to get lots of backlinks to it. How many money pages should I point internal links to on that page to flow the juice? Is there a max number?
Not a max number, but honestly, I think you kind of missed the timeline on the roundups. People aren't really looking at those as much anymore. It's kind of like, yeah, all right. You went out, and I think, especially in the marketing world, it kind of figured that stuff out. So I would just pick, 1 or 2 of your good top ones and leave it at that if you're going to leverage that content.
For me personally, I don't care how many links you do. Clint and I have tried to do negative SEO based on links every which way, and we cannot
linking from that to the other pages on his website.
Yeah, well, yeah. I didn't really understand the question, to tell you the truth. but if you're talking about external links to the page, I don't care.
Yeah.
If you're talking about internal links, sorry, my cold's coming up. If you're talking about internal links, the majority of your internal link juice has to pass to your ranking pages. So if you're passing, I'm having a huge nerd moment now because my nose is getting full up. I'm the majority of your internal links. Yeah. So you need to make sure that the ranking pages on your site you want to rank are getting most of the internal link juice, and you have to have index page links pointing to those pages as well.
Yeah, I would start off with a couple. If it takes off, if you get lucky and it takes off and you get a whole bunch of good backlinks, then inside of each one of those contributors' comments, and if you have a relevant page to that, then go ahead and drop the link. It's not going to kill it. It'll just spread that juice across more of your site versus working on 1 or 2 pages and boosting the ranking for that. So.
I noticed that somebody gave us a downvote on YouTube. I challenge you to come on the show and we'll have a debate about why you're such a douchebag.
That was probably Holly. She wanted to give us.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, then Holly can do that because Holly can do whatever she wants. Frederick Wilson asks, what kind of bouncing do you see when making adjustments to pages using Cora data? When do you know that you made a mistake and the bouncing isn't normal, only on page adjustments? That's a really good question, Frederick. What you need to install is a heat map software like Crazy Egg. I'm crazy about Crazy Egg. I'm using it on all my client sites now. You can put up to, it's pretty cheap, and you can put up to 3 pages per site, like the top 3 pages. I say, give it to me. Just put this JavaScript in with your top 3 pages. I don't even tell them what I'm doing. And then I see just beautiful heat map of everywhere people are clicking. I've already got them to install my JavaScript hack for Google Analytics, so I know how long they're staying there as well. And so I can empirically measure pages getting higher in quality because the conversion is happening better, where we want them to click is happening better, where they're looking is happening better, the time they're spending is better, whatever that means. Better means less time or more, depends on the type of site.
I think he's talking about bouncing in the search results. And in case he is, don't discount what Josh just said, but also when it used to be, you could update a page, send it to Google URL submit, and within 30 minutes, you'd see an improvement or a decline. Now you're looking at a week-ish. So, which is kind of good because after you go through that entire spreadsheet and optimize all that stuff, you don't want to look at that page for a week anyway. That's what I, count on a week to say, all right, that's what's going to do. I saw one where we did it, sent a whole bunch of links to it, nothing happened, and then it dropped out of the index and then came back at 14, and that was over a 2-month period. So it just depends on what Google feels like at that point in time.
All right, I got to run, so I just want to make sure all these questions are answered here. Brian Shalax asks, Kyle's optimizer takes some work for sure, but after 7 weeks, it makes sense, but it takes work. But once you got it down, you won't forget it. As soon as something new pops up, you know where to look. Thank you, Brian. I agree entirely. It's a great tool. Brian, if you're trying to get Jordan Pierce's course, email me. Yeah, you should be able to email me. My email address is joshbachynski@gmail.com. If you have any SEO questions at all, or want to get in contact with any of these other guys, including Jordan or Clint, you can contact me, or you can contact Clint directly as well, of course. And Jordan asks, Josh, can you please have people email you for interest in the GMB Master Academy? Sure. So, guys, if you're interested in the GMB Master Academy, these guys were on the show just was it last week or the week before, talking about their Master Academy and local stuff. Email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to get you in touch with those guys over at NFG SEO. And with that, I've got to run, folks. Today we've had a bunch of awesome guests. I'd like to thank Butch and Mark for joining, Holly for joining. She had to run. And as always, our Black Hat co-host, Clint Butler. We are on every Wednesday. I saw a question in the chat. We are pretty much on every Wednesday at 1 p.m. And if you have any questions about SEO, email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com about Cora, about Page Optimizer Pro, about SEO Miss, my 50% special, which is going on right now for SEO services, about the deer skull and where I found it. Any other questions you have, email me and I'll help you out. And as I always say, good luck in the SERPs. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Guys, appreciate it.